Hey, what's up, guys? We got another video here. So this is going to be a beginner's guide to Druid. A lot of people have been asking me to do it, so I'll do it. We're going to go over a lot of things here. We're going to go over the build, the typical build that you can run. Obviously, this depends on how good your squire is, whether you're going looted or not, but the typical builds, skills you want to run, perks, all kinds of stuff. We're going to go over the Druid animal tech formations, everything. But yeah, first we're going to go over typically, there's different ways you can play Druid, obviously, right? Because Druid is a support class, but you can also play it solos or in duos. You want to play a lot of different ways. So obviously, you're very limited on skills here so far since he's kind of a newer class. So you're just going to want to throw on transformations and spell memory. Yeah, because there's not even a double spell memory. You can even run two spells if you wanted to. So those are the two skills that you're going to run. Not much of a choice there. Shapeshifts, there's only 5 shapeshifts, so there's nothing more that you can add so far. But they did say, SGF said that they're planning to add more shapeshifts, so that's pretty cool. It makes things a little easier. So the only other difference here is this: you can have different spells here. We're going to go over some of the spells that I'm going to run on this build. We'll go over all the spells here first, because this is going to be the complete introductory beginner's guide to Druid. So Nature's Touch here. You gain 15 additional recoverable health, also heals 15 health over 12 seconds. You can cast this on yourself or other players. Essentially what this does, is pretty much like a potion. It's a quicker potion, because a regular potion, if you look over here, it heals 15 health over 20 seconds. This Nature's Touch does 15 health over 12 seconds. So it's a quicker potion, essentially. It also gives you recoverable health. Recoverable health is, you'll see your health bar on the bottom of the screen. There's light red, which is your health, and then there's dark red, which is your recoverable health. Sometimes you won't have recoverable health, so if you sit down to rest, you won't recover any more health. So this gives you recoverable health, so you can sit down and heal off that. Next up, we got Barkskin Armor. Encloses the caster in a protective bark for 8 seconds, increasing armor rating by 20%. Understand that this ability does not give you physical damage reduction. This only increases your armor rating by 20%, so it's not as good as you guys think. So if you see here, I don't have any armor on, but whatever armor that shows right here, it gives you 20% more while in Barkskin. It does not give you physical damage reduction percentage. That's very important that people know that. It can be pretty good, but this typically only works when you have high armor rating, if you're just pretty tanky. This also works really good in bear form, because bear does make you tankier. But yeah, that's pretty much typically what it's used for. Next up, we got the Summon Treant. The Summon Treant's awesome. You pretty much just summon a Treant that fights for you, and he does a decent amount of damage, lasts for 24 seconds, and becomes more powerful underwater. Typically what this is used for is for, it's kind of like the Hydra. Like when you use a Hydra, you throw it in front of you and it gains a little distance between you and the enemy, and it has a little bit of pressure on the opponent. Like they have to either fight it or they chase you, and then the treant comes in behind them and starts attacking them from behind. So typically this is used to prevent people from pushing, and so you can heal your team while that's going on, or you can pinch somebody. You can throw it in the doorway so somebody can't push through the doorway and it kind of traps them. Treant's really good, and it does decent amount of damage too. The Treant swings in two intervals. He does a double swing, and then he pauses, and then he does a double swing again. So just keep that in mind. The next ability we have is Dreamfire. Deals 15 magical damage to all enemies in an area. This is pretty much like a Holy Strike on Cleric. The only difference being, though, if you use Nature's Touch on an ally, right, and then you hit Dreamfire on an opponent, if for each target you hit for Dreamfire, your ally who has Nature's Touch on him will heal 10 HP. So say there's three players, right? You hit your teammate who's low with Nature's Touch, and then you drop a Dreamfire on the trio team, and you hit every single one of them. That ability alone will instantly give them 30 HP on your ally. So it's pretty strong, and it'll also do 15 damage to each target you hit. So this is definitely a support spell, but it's kind of like Holy Strike in that aspect, without the healing. Next up, we got Thornbearer. Thornbearer just creates a little barrier, nothing too particular. If you touch it, you take 4 physical damage per second, so you don't want to get caught on that. A lot of people use the Thornbearer in doorways. So say an opponent's running through the doorway, they'll drop it under him, and I'm not sure if you can still do it now, but before you could get stuck in the doorway underneath the Thorn Barrier, and it would just fucking kill you, and you would just be kind of cooked. I'm not sure if you can still do that now, but that was a play. But you can trap people like this, and trap people in between Treant with Thorn Barrier. That's a good combination to use. But that's pretty much it. Lasts for 8 seconds. Next up, we got Entangling Vines. This is probably one of the most broken abilities here. It used to be really strong. When Druid first dropped, this Entangle was for 3 seconds, but now it's only 1 second. Essentially, you throw an Entangle on the ground. 1 meter radius, lasts for 6 seconds. Any targets that pass through the area effect are frozen in place for 1 second. After effect is removed, the target is immune for 1 second. So you throw it on the ground, they entangle. It's like a snare, kind of like the snare on Cleric, and they can't move. And then after the 1 second, they can move. But here's the kicker: if they stay in the entangles, they get snared again after 1 second because there's only 1 second of immunity. So, they have to get out of the entangle, or they'll continually get entangled until the duration of Entangled Vines, 6 seconds, goes away. So you can definitely mess up a team with this. That's pretty crazy, though. Like, you can entangle somebody, and you can drop on them when bear formation and hit them with the heady if you do it correctly. We'll be going over the animal text in a little bit here, but yeah, it's pretty insane. Next up, we got Restore. Restore is a really good healing spell. This is probably one of my favorite spells, to be honest. It's 30 health for 10 seconds. You cast it on yourself, and anybody near you heals this. 30 health for 10 seconds, all 3 of you. Which is like 3 health a second, essentially. You want to use this in combination with this, and you can heal up your full team really quickly. It's really good health. 3 meter radius, so make sure you and your teammates are close when you cast this. Make sure they're staying nearby you for the 10-second duration so they can heal up. And then the 2 most expensive spells that you run on Druid here is Tree of Life. You pretty much use a Tree of Life on a player, gives them 5 all attributes, and grants 40 additional recoverable health over 8 seconds. This is a pretty good spell. It's decent. I think it could be better, but it's decent. It's 5 all attributes, which is huge. It's just pretty much like a demon lock, darkness shard while transforming into demon plus 5 all. It's pretty decent. Typically, we want to use this on your frontliner, make them really strong and tanky. But yeah, that's pretty much that. And then we got Mending Grove, which used to be a tier 5, and they changed to tier 6 because of how good it is. This is incredibly strong and heals you like pretty much to full health almost. Create a forest area centered around you within a 3 meter radius. Targets in the area gain 10% max health bonus and are healed for 10 health per second. So you gain 10% max health over the duration of this ability, so you're tankier, but you also heal 10 health per second. And I believe, it doesn't say how long this lasts, but I believe this lasts probably 6 to 8 seconds. I haven't exactly figured out how long, but actually I think it's about 8 to 10 seconds. It lasts pretty long. You can almost get full health off of 1 mending if you do it correctly. But make sure when you drop the Mending Grove that all the players stand like towards the center of the Mending Grove. Otherwise, the heal won't proc because it's a 3 meter radius. But yeah, this ability is really good for resets. You drop a Mending Grove, you drop Restore on yourself, and your whole team's full health within like 8 seconds. It's really good. Really good heals on Druid. But yeah, that goes over all the spells. I know this was kind of like a lot, but I think everybody needs to know exactly what all the spells do and like what you can use them with in combination before we actually go into like a build. But that's pretty much that. That goes into everything. We got the perks here. Dreamwalk, which is like a mini Phantomize, which is really nice. If you switch weapons, I believe it cancels your Dreamwalk. So you can go in and out of Dreamwalk like that. But when you get hit, you go into a Dreamwalk for 15 seconds and you cannot be targeted with damage, which is crazy. But one thing that's better than Phantomize, the reason why this is better than Phantomize, is you can actually cast spells while you're in Dreamwalk. So you can still support your team, you can trap opponents, stuff like that. Enhanced Wilderness, in animal form, you gain 5 additional move speed and 10 armor. Force of Nature, when you heal a target, the target gains 3 Fizz power. This is kind of mid, I don't typically use that. Herbal Sensing, this is kind of mid as well, because there's static herb spawns that you can just check. You don't really need to detect them. Spirit Magic Mastery, when you cast Spirit Magic, you gain 10 magic power. This is decent. This could go in combination with Dreamfire. So if you gain 10 magic power, your Dreamfire will do more damage. So that's pretty good. Next up, we got Spirit Bond. Once every 1 second, you will receive 15% of damage received by party members instead. Can receive damage up to 20 health. This is decent. I haven't used this too much, but essentially, if you have a lot of health, you could be behind your teammates, and if your teammate gets hit, you technically absorb 20 of the health, up to 20 of the health that they get dealt damage-wise. So you can kind of stay in the back, heal yourself, and it can help your front line stay alive longer because they don't get, they transfer some of the damage they should have taken onto you, and you can just heal yourself up and just stay in the back. So it's pretty good. Next up, we got Shapeshift Mastery. This is needed, absolutely needed when you're transforming and you're trying to do animal techs. You have to use this. It's insane. It's an instant transformation instead of like I think it's 1 or 1.5 seconds. It's instant, which is pretty nice. Next up, we got Thorn Coat. This is an insane ability, especially when you're using bear form, because you're super tanky, and each time somebody hits you, it returns 5 true fizz damage to them, which is, that shit adds up. If you get it 6 times, they're hitting themselves 30 physical true. It's pretty incredible. Next up, we got Sun and Moon. Nearby allies gain 3 Vigor and 5 Magical Power. This is good when you have casters on your team. That 5 Magic Power adds up. So if you have a Warlock or a Wizard or something, this can be pretty good. Even a Cleric. And the 3 Vigor also just helps in general for your entire teammates. This is decent. And then the last perk we have is Natural Healing. Recover yourself and nearby allies 1 health every 3 seconds. Which is really nice, actually. I've used it a decent amount, but I'm not sure if it's worth a perk slot, depending on, if you're running full support Druid, you definitely could use this. You pretty much just have this perk on, and then you and your team slowly heals up. So just make sure you guys are close together. You don't have to top off with potions. You can just kind of stay close together, and all of your health will slowly start to regenerate, which is pretty nice. So that goes for all the perks there. So this build is going to be... This is going to be specifically an animal form build for solos. We could, drop other builds for other, depending on how you want to play Druid, if you want to do full support. But this is just going to be a solo animal-based build here. So for this, we're going to run Enhanced Wilderness, which you need. 5 additional move speed and 10 armor in animal forms. You're going to want Shapeshift Mastery so you can transform quicker. And then from there, you can kind of decide what you want to use. Some of these are kind of useless solo. Natural Healing, you don't really need solo. It's kind of a waste. Spirit Bond, you can't use because you need that for team. Dreamwalk, you're pretty much gonna use. This is like a get out of jail free card. Keep in mind though, when you're in transformation, or when you're in Dreamwalk, you can't transform. So you're kind of just stuck there. But you can switch your weapon, I believe, to cancel Dreamwalk. But if I'm incorrect about that, let me know. I will test this out. But this is a one-take video, so. Next up, we got Thorn Coat. I might run a Thorn Coat, depending if, I'll run Bear a lot. I use Bear sometimes, but this, even if you're not using Bear, this can help, because typically you're like 3 or 4 taps, so they'll be doing 15 to 20 damage to themselves anyway, just based in human form, so this is really good perk. But yeah, this is going to be pretty much the build that we're going to run in here for PvP. And for the spells, we'll go into the spells after we go into the equipment that I'm going to run for this build, for the Squire equipment. Because it depends on how much knowledge that I have here. So my Squire is pretty limited here, but we're going to build a Squire kit based off of how we play here. So this is going to be Rawhide gloves we're going to start with, and we're going to want to do low boots too. Typically, you can get better low boots if you do your quests, and your quests will give you better Squire gear. But this is all we have for now, and I'm using low boots and knowledge just so I can have the most amount of spell memory that I can, so I can cast as many spells as I can. Yeah, so this is pretty much mandatory how I'm going to run. Typically, this is not how you would run. You can change this up depending on if you actually run decent blues and purple gear, but this is just a beginner's guide for Druid. As far as the headpiece goes, Dark Growth's not bad. It gives you strength and 8% headshot reduction. It is -2 move speed. It's not bad. I think we actually would run that just because in this Squire kit I don't have too many options since I don't have my Squire leveled up that much on Druid. But you also could run Leather Cap if you want. It's not bad. Also, keep in mind, Straw Hat is another Druid item that you can run that's not in here. But Straw Hat gives you strength, and it's pretty decent as well. So for the chest and body, we need a little bit of armor because our armor here is pretty low. So we're probably going to run heavy leathers because I believe that's the most amount of armor that you can get for the rest of this kit for what I have here. So we'll run heavy leathers there. And then for the chest piece, Ritual Robe is decent for the agility, and it has a decent amount of armor too. And it's not too heavy. It's only -6. So we'll probably run this. This will probably be the setup we'll run for the armor here. But let's make sure we check our spells. We'll go into the spells after that. First, we'll go into the weapons that we're going to be running. Pretty much, I'll be honest with you, there's only 2 melee weapons that you're going to want to use. The primary one you're going to want to use is Spear. Spear is really good on Druid. And then the other one you're going to want to use is either a Morning Star or a Mace for the armor pen, which both can use pretty good. But I typically only use Spear because Spear's poke range, if you do it right with animal forms, you can just poke people, animal form out, go in, poke people again. It's really nice. As far as the secondary, I pretty much only run Spellbook. Staff isn't really worth it at all on Druid, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. There's the new ceremonial staff, but as far as I've heard, magical healing does not scale with Druid's abilities. So if I'm incorrect, please comment down below. But I'm pretty sure all of the magical healing on Druid does not scale because it's already really strong. So I just run Spellbook for lower movement speed. Is pretty much it. I mean, you don't really need the magical damage unless you're running Dreamfire. So you're literally just, and magical heal doesn't scale, so any spellbook pretty much just works here with this. But this is pretty much this build here that I'm going to run. We got the equipment set, we got the skills, we got the perks. Next up, we're going to go into the spells and see what spells we should run with, the knowledge that we have. We have 23 knowledge, which isn't bad. So let's go in here and see what we're gonna run. So Nature's Touch, we're definitely gonna want to run. This is good. It's like a quick potion, and it's really cheap. So you might as well grab this. Restore is another good one. I love using these in combination. You may not want to use this solo, but I typically do because 3 health per second plus this, which is another 1 health per second, essentially 1.5. That's like 4 to 4.5 health per second. That can heal you up halfway. Within 10 seconds. It's pretty nice. Another one you want to run, Summon Treant. You want to run this when you're solo because this, it's just like a Hydra. Like I said earlier, it helps people from pushing you. You can trap people in doorways, stuff like that. This is good. Tingling Vines also is really good to run with this build. And then the last one that I'll probably run, I can run up to a 4-cast. I'm not too fond. If you're running bear form, you do want to bring Barkskin. If you're running more caster-based, not animal form, you want to bring Dreamfire. But I think a well-balanced spell to run here would be Thorn Barrier. It's just kind of like another good way of trapping enemies. Because Druid, primarily, you're like trapping and messing with players to get them out of place to do damage. Especially like when you're in trios. When you're in a trio team, you want to trap other teams. You want to like if the one guy pushes, you want to put barriers behind him so the other part of their team can't keep up with them. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the spells. We're gonna be going into the animal forms and some animal tech here now. So let's get to it. So now that we're in the dungeon, let's go over the different transformations. The first transformation is Panther. Panther, you gain 5% move speed, lose 30% max health, lose 30% incoming physical and incoming magical healing, and you jump 20% higher. As you can see here in Human, you're 116. In Panther, you are 82 health. The different abilities, left click is Scratch, which does bleed damage, and does initial and bleed damage. Right click is Neck Bite, which silences the target if you're in a frenzied state. Frenzied state lasts for 3 seconds after you use your ability in Panther, and your ability is Rush. Rush is a little Panther dash, as you can see here, which is used for pouncing on enemies. While you do that, a little buff pops up here called Frenzy and lasts for 3 seconds. If you use Neck Bite while in Panther, it silences the target for half a second. If you continually Neck Bite for those 3 seconds, casters cannot cast spells. So this is really good for pushing casters and stuff, preventing them from being able to cast spells. That's pretty much it for Panther. Panther is used in a lot of tech, which we'll show in a little bit after we go over this. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Next up, we got Chicken. If I didn't say already, Panther scales off agility. So the more agility you have, the more damage you do. Keep that in mind. Next up, we got Chicken. Transform into Chicken. You can do that. Yeah, everything on Chicken scales off resourcefulness. And your base peck attack does 30% armor pen when you hit. But it's kind of like Trolley, but you can do a ton of damage. But keep in mind, you lose 60% max health and 60% incoming physical and incoming magical healing. So you're pretty much a one-tap, 48 health as opposed to 116. That's pretty much it. There's no right-click. You just start making noise. And your abilities, Insect Predation, you pretty much just heal. It's like eating like a little biscuit. Kind of like on Ranger, there's the biscuit ability. You heal. You heal like 20, 30 health, something like that. It's pretty self-explanatory. But yeah, these two are used in combination for Chicken Tech. But first, we'll go over Bear. Bear is insane. You gain 50% physical damage reduction, 50% max health, and you lose 30% move speed and 20% action speed, and you lose 30% jump, essentially. So you're really slow. Everything on Bear scales off of strength. The more strength you have, the more damage you do. Left click is a knockback. Right click is always also a knockback as well. Everything scales off strength. More damage you do. Raise your body. It deals 200% physical damage with both hands. So your right click, your bash, this does a ton of damage. And it knocks back, and it scales with headshot. So keep that in mind. Also, with this, you can break doors, and you can break boxes, you can break all kinds of stuff. To break a door, you know, if you were to aim straight at the door and bear, you'd hit the ceiling, you know, or you'd miss. So you have to aim kind of down to break the door like that. So that's how you use the break on bear. Other than that, it's pretty self-explanatory. We'll go over the ability here, Wild Fury. You gain 15% physical damage bonus and 15% physical damage reduction for 6 seconds. So if you use this in combination with just being in bear, you're at like 65% physical damage reduction. Like, you're so beefy. It's insane. Yeah, that's pretty much that. We will go over the tech real quick before we go into rat. So the tech that people like to use is you'd be in Panther, you jump, you use your ability to dash while midair. Then while in midair, you transform into chicken, and then you do a triple jump on chicken, because chicken can do a triple jump as one of his abilities. So it looks something like this. And you gain a ton of distance. If you space out your jumps in chicken, you can gain really far distance depending on how high of ground you're at. And you can also use this in combination with bear. So, you know, once this cooldown goes down, I'll show you. You essentially jump in Panther, you dash, you chicken, you jump mid-air, and then you transform into bear, and then you can right-click. So you can use all those transformations in sequence with each other. So it looks something like this. Like that. And you can do, you know, a ton of damage if you get a heady and catch somebody off guard too. Which is really good for bear, since bear is so slow. It's pretty much the primary way to actually be able to hit somebody in bear form. But yeah, that's pretty much that animal tech that people do. Next up, we'll go into rat. As you can see here, you turn into a rat. You can hide behind stuff, you can hide in chests, you can do crazy stuff. Keep in mind, in rat, you randomly squeak, so people always know where you're at. Keep that in mind. Rat, you are tiny, and you gain 10% move speed, lose 95% of everything. Max health bonus, you lose physical damage reduction, magic damage reduction, incoming physical healing, magic healing, everything. You do jump 10% higher in rat. As you can see, my health is 9. As opposed to 116 in human. So you literally are one tap to pretty much everything. Oh, there's a player. But yeah, we're going to go over the animal tech in rat. Pretty much say you're getting, oh no, these guys are chasing me, oh no. And you want to use animal tech, rat tech, you can actually jump through the door here with rat. That's kind of what makes rat really strong. You can just continually go through different doors, different grids, and you can just keep moving. These guys are probably going to push me here. And it's a good way I can show you exactly how to use Panther as well. Panther, you want to gain distance over there, use chicken tech, and then you can go here, you can jump through window. Just keep in mind, if there are archers lined up on you, they can shoot you, so you have to be careful. But as you can see there, I'm free. I can heal in here, I can do whatever, because this is a free room. But being able to run through doors like that and just go to different grids this quickly without opening doors is crazy. So this is kind of what makes Druid insane. But yeah, when you want to do the animal tech, the rat tech through the window, you just want to line up your cursor on here. You want to run, and you want to jump in human, and then transform, and look down slightly. Like that. But that's pretty much how you do it. Just make sure you're lined up, and, you know, the more the practice, you know, the more consistently you can do it. But that's pretty much the animal tech part of this video. Kind of went over everything that you need to know. Next, we'll go into the PvP here. Just make sure that you hop in the Discord, because in the Discord, in the description, you can jump in. We got a bunch of people in there if you just need somebody to play with. We run tournaments every Sunday. It's chill. You'll see when you hop in, it's chill. If you want to join in one of the tournaments that we run, look at the announcements page, and we'll let you know exactly when that is. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any comments or questions, drop a comment. Or if you have any questions, hop in the Discord to DM me, and I'll get back to you. Now let's go into the PvP section of this. Let's get it.